Hey guys, Hybrid here with another character bios. I know I haven't done one in a while, and we were gonna do another show that I can't talk about yet, but it's like a new up-and-coming show that we are currently developing right now for the channel. But I delayed that because of some editing issues with it, so I thought, hey, why not just make another character bios? And I chose Deathstroke because, first off, he's a really interesting character. Think basically, Captain America, because he's basically very similar in a sense to Captain America. He's a dedicated American, super soldier, efforts by the United States Army, so on, so on. Obviously, there's some differences too, but he inspired Deadpool, if you didn't know that. And also, he's getting really popular as of recently. Like, he appeared in Arkham Origins. He's going to be in the upcoming Batman animated movie, like Son of Batman or whatever. Basically, it's an adaptation of the whole Damian Wayne storyline when they introduced him in there, but they're putting Deathstroke in there. He's like the main antagonist, and also he is in Arrow right now, and he's, I really like the actor that plays him in Arrow. I think he's the strongest part of that show at the moment. But yeah, basically he's a really popular character, so I thought I'd tell you guys the New 52, and I feel like I have to say this now, New 52 origin of him, because everybody always gets confused, especially if like Superman or Batman related things, they like pull like pre-crisis stuff out, and I'm like, this is New 52. So anyways, let's move on. Origins, and this isn't Slade Wilson, by the way, like at his origin. This is just Slade Wilson, and I chose this picture because it's really hard to find pictures of him without wearing his Deathstroke armor material. Or not armor material, his Deathstroke attire. But Slade Wilson is a dedicated American. He's wanted to serve his nation essentially all of his life. And when he was 16 years old, he actually left home to illegally enlist in the United States Army. There he served as an infantryman in the Korean War, but was later assigned to Camp Washington and promoted to the rank of major. And he was an extremely skilled soldier, which is why, first off, so quickly after he was an infantryman in the Korean War, he just got, promoted to major, which is an officer rank if I am not mistaken. Basically, if you couldn't tell by what I just said, he's been alive for a long time. Now, while at Camp Washington, he met Captain Adeline Kane, who's an officer, actually his commanding officer technically, tasked primarily with training young soldiers for the upcoming Vietnam War. Now, Slade mastered every tactic, strategy, and fighting style that was taught to him at Camp Washington, which impressed a lot of people, and soon he actually fell in love with Adeline, and she fell in love with him. Now, during this, he was promoted yet again to the rank of Lieutenant Colonel, which obviously is pretty high up there. A few months later, Slade married her, Adeline, and she actually became pregnant with a boy, who, sadly, when Slade was overseas fighting in Vietnam, their son was born, and his name is Grant. So, after he returned from the Vietnam War, Slade actually ended up volunteering for a government experiment, which was, told to him to help resist truth serums that the enemy was going to be giving soldiers. And obviously, Slade is really dedicated to his country, so when his country asked him to do something, or if he would do something, he's going to say yes. Now, the experiment was actually a lie, and it was to make super soldiers or metahumans for the United States military, primarily the Army at the time. And it reacted pretty badly with his body and actually put him into a coma. But when he awoke, he actually learned that now he had superhuman physical abilities and also enhanced mental abilities. And as you can see there, that's like them basically injecting him with it. And basically, though, the only problem was that the most prominent side effect was an increased like aggression. So he got pissed off really easily now. And he was kind of considered a liability at this point because they weren't really sure fully how much it worked or not. So they took him out of, I guess, active duty, so to speak, in like war zones, and they put him on desk work, which he hated. Now, soon, though, he turned to doing like extracurricular activities, so to speak, such as hunting, until his best friend William Wintergreen was captured during a mission in Somalia. A change in the New 52, obviously you can't see it here, but in the New 52, William Wintergreen is actually African American instead of white, like he traditionally was. And he actually has a son who helps Slade once he becomes Deathstroke, but I'm not there yet. So Slade tried asking the government to basically like get like help there for William, but the government said no. And Slade, this is like his best friend, so he then just put together a costume and went on a solo mission to save William, which he did. But after this, for disobeying orders, he was discharged from the army. I believe the proper reasoning would be insubordination. I'm not exactly sure though. Now, after this, he decided to become a mercenary. He started working under the name Deathstroke the Terminator, becoming one of the most feared assassins and mercenaries in the world very quickly, because obviously with his abilities and skill set, it's not that hard for him to kill people. But soon though, he obviously made a lot of enemies, and his home is actually attacked by North Koreans, which caused a separation between him and his wife and kids, because they were believed to be dead. Really weren't. They relocated to Maine, but they kind of started hating him. And actually in the New 52 comics, because they don't really explain the origin that well of Deathstroke in the New 52, but when they do mention his wife, it's revealed that she hates his guts, and so does his kids pretty much at this point. Now, alone, Deathstroke fully became engaged in his new lifestyle, gaining new gear and weapons, as you can tell by his much more armor-ish costume instead of a skin-tight suit. And also with his superhuman abilities, Deathstroke became the top mercenary in the world. He's considered the best mercenary, I believe, in the DC universe at this time. I know when Scott Lobdell was writing him, he literally put in there that he was the number one badass in the, or best top badass or whatever in the DC universe, whatever that means. But anyways, he kills normal and metahuman targets with ease. He actually was, one of his contracts was Lobo, and he did really well in that contract. But currently he's a part of Amanda Waller's Team 7. Deathstroke has superhuman strength, speed, durability, healing senses, and an enhanced intellect. Also, he's longevity with that. I don't know why I forgot to write that down there. But he does have longevity, and also he's a master combatant, strategist, tactician, hunter, swordsman, and marksman. He's fought in people like Hawkman and beaten him pretty badly. Also, he's fought in people and outsmarted people like Batman in New 52. He blew up Batman's Batjet just because he wanted to, really. And also, he could probably actually beat Batman in a hand-to-hand fight in the New 52. I'm not sure if they've done that, but just due to his skill set and stats, it would make sense that he would. But then again, it's Batman, so you never know. Batman could pull some random thing out of his utility belt, which could probably blow up the world if he wanted to. Also, he's a very skilled marksman and swordsman. He always carries his Prometheum broadsword around with him. It's pretty cool, kind of keeping it traditional there. But he has tons of guns with him all the time as well. As you can see in almost every picture he's in, he has a gun. He's either holding it or he's firing it. Now, let's talk about his armor really quick. He has nth metal armor, same nth metal that Hawkman has. Now, even Hawkman said this, confirming it. It enhances his durability, and it also enhances his strength. So, wearing the nth metal armor, he could take hits from people like Superman, hits from Lobo, Wonder Woman, people like them, and keep going. So it's really durable, and also it enhances his strength. So without the nth metal armor, he could lift a few tons. I'm presuming that with nth metal, he could lift at least 10 tons. Because in the pre-New 52, he was only peak human. In the New 52, he is superhuman. So also he's brilliant. I didn't even know how else to say it. He's just brilliant. Now recommended reading. Now I only have 3 things on here from the New 52 because for all intents and purposes, most of his origin and history wasn't changed when they did the relaunch / reboot. So the things from the New 52 are the Deathstroke New 52 series volume 1, Deathstroke number 0, which doesn't really go into his origin, but it does go a bit into his involvement with Team 7, for example, which leads into the third thing, which is Team 7 Volume 2 onward, where, he gets introduced and all that good stuff. Now, also, I have 3 pre-New 52 things. Very Teen Titans oriented, being Teen Titans Judas Contract, Teen Titans Trial of the Terminator, and Deathstroke the Hunted. Now, to give you an idea about what these are, basically, the Teen Titans Judas Contract, basically, we see that Deathstroke kind of takes out every Teen Titans person there. It's pretty cool seeing him do it. Really showcases his abilities. And then there's Trial of the Terminator, which basically we kind of see a lot of things from his past being brought out, because obviously, if you couldn't tell by the title of it, he's on trial. So a lot of the crimes he's committed over the years/decades as Deathstroke are brought to the public eye. And then we have The Hunted, which is basically when someone frames him for the murder of a U.S. senator, and he basically hunts them down, and he kills a lot of people / fights a lot of people in this one. So if you want to see that, awesome. That's the book for you. So I hope this helps you guys with Deathstroke. I know he's a pretty cool character. I really like him. I do really want to see how they pan out Deathstroke and Arrow, because right now he's like kind of, when you think about the actual main villain besides Merlin. So yeah, please subscribe, comment, and like. What other character bios would you like to see in the future? I'm going to try doing some more DC ones again, because I've done a lot of Marvel ones recently, me and CJ. And I don't want to forget that this show is primarily made to explain New 52 origins for you guys. So tell me which other ones you'd like to see in the future, and I'll see you guys later.